Hello, and welcome to the library of great, outstanding work done by Jane Yolen. Here we have a picture. That is her there. And in this library, you'll find many of different genres of children's literature, including science fiction, poetry, fantasy, and even some fiction. Jane Yolen is the author of many books ranging from early preschool years to even some young adult novels. She is the author of over 300 children's books, and she is better known as the Hans Christian Andersen of America. Jane Yolen was born in 1939 and was the firstborn of her parents. Her father was a journalist and a police reporter before that. Yolen's mother was a psychiatric social worker until she was born, and then she stayed home writing short stories and selling crossword puzzles and acrostics. At about 13 years old, Yolen began writing, singing, taking piano lessons, and studying ballet in New York City. During her freshman year of high school, her family moved to Westport, Connecticut, where she attended Staples High School. Yolen was vice president of the Spanish and Latin clubs, news editor of the school paper, captain of the girls' basketball team, and she also sang in choir. She graduated 7th in her class and was accepted to Smith College. During her 4 years at Smith College, she won all of the poem writing awards, journalism award, and wrote the lyrics to her class musical. From there, she also achieved her master's degree in education from the University of Massachusetts. After college, Yolen moved back to New York City and she became an editor. She considered herself to be a journalist and a poet. However, she became a children's book author, and at 22 years old, she published her first book called Pirates in Petticoats. Awards that her books have won include the Caldecott Medal, World Fantasy Award, Golden Kite Award, Nebula Award, Skylark Award, Charlotte Award, and many others. Jane Yolen was married to her husband, David W. Stemple, since 1962, until he passed away from cancer in March of 2006. They have 3 children together, and Yolen currently lives next door to her daughter in Hatfield, Massachusetts, and also lives part-time in Scotland, where she also has a home. Now I will present to you some of the amazing and most popular children's book that Jane Yolen has written. Here we have quite a bit of a collection of just some of the books that she's written. The first 3 books are a part of her 23 series of How Do Dinosaurs, which are here, and then there's also one other one up there. Although the books have fantasy rhyming schemes throughout, each of them contains their own message to children and even has some science within them. On the first and last page of each of the books within the series, they have dinosaurs listed and their scientific names. Each of the books has minimal text but carry an engaging rhyming scheme for younger children. So the first book that we'll go over is How Do Dinosaurs Say Goodnight, which is here. This book begins with the negative ways that dinosaurs, or children is what they relate to, can act before being put to bed. But dinosaurs are cooperative, give their parents a hug and kiss, and turn off the lights, illustrating positive bedtime behavior for young children. Another book is How Do Dinosaurs Go to School, which is this here. This book begins by describing all of the negative traits in which the media has portrayed dinosaurs to be and compares them to how they go to school. But in the end, the dinosaurs are actually polite in class, they work as a team, and treat others kindly. And here is where they've got the dinosaurs and their different names. And this is in each of those books. Another book of that series is How Do Dinosaurs Say I'm Mad? This book begins by asking whether the dinosaurs throw tantrums, in different ways if they're mad or if they don't get their way, and ends with how they will say sorry or count and breathe calmly, preventing showing their anger. In the next book that I'd like to talk to you guys about, I was unable to get on hand, but it's Owl Moon, which is a very popular book that has actually won the Caldecott Award. This book, I actually checked out in the beginning of the semester, but couldn't get it this time. It has beautiful illustrations and is a poetic story about a young girl and her father. They go out owling through the dark forest on a winter night and actually spot an owl on their bonding adventure. Although this book is focused on the bond of the father and daughter, this text could actually be used for nighttime creatures in nighttime climate. And another book here is actually a chapter book called The Devil's Arithmetic, and this is another pretty popular book written by Jane Yolen. And I was unable to read the entire book, but I would say that this is for a slightly older age, maybe middle school students, and from the research that I've done, the book is about a 12-year-old American Jewish girl and discusses her experiences in Poland during the Nazi Holocaust. I think this could be used for social studies lessons about World War II and the Holocaust. Another book we're going to go over is The Emperor and the Kite. This was a story about an emperor's daughter. She was the fourth daughter, smallest of them all, and she was always ignored by her family. She often played with a kite that she had made from paper and sticks. One day her father is imprisoned in a high tower, but she rescues him with her high-flying kite. And the moral is that no matter how small something may be, you can be very powerful. You Nest Here With Me is a very cute book, and this is a rhyming book, I would say, for maybe first graders. It begins with the mother putting her daughter to bed and goes on about different kinds of birds and where they nest. She tells her daughter her nest can be anywhere there is you and me, meaning a home can be made anywhere as long as you have your family nearby. This would be a great book to use when discussing different types of birds and their habitats. And in the book, it even gives a list of the type of birds and facts about them, which I thought was very clever and could be used for a science lesson. Another book I really enjoyed of Jane Yolen is called The Stranded Whale. This is a sweet, yet it is a tragic story about a girl and her brothers walking home from school along the ocean. They encounter an enormous whale that is washed up on shore, and the low tide is coming on quickly. The young girl Sally tries to help the whale and shows compassion for the whale and sorrow after the whale passes away. Although it is a sad ending, this can be used to teach compassion and caring for others, and this could also be used part of a lesson on animals of the ocean and making children aware of these types of things. I probably wouldn't use this book up until about 4th grade just because of the ending, but it was overall a very cute book. And another one we have here is called My Uncle Emily. This is a story about a boy who calls her aunt uncle. In fact, he calls her Uncle Emily, who was actually Emily Dickinson. She loves poetry, just like the author. Jane Yolen loves poetry, and writes poems about everything, even dead bees. The little boy punches another student at school for calling Uncle Emily names. He ends up writing poetry about the truth that happened that day at school, and he realizes the importance of telling the truth. And we also have here, Not All Princesses Dress in Pink. And it is basically what the title is called and what the cover looks like. Story is about princesses who wear anything but pink, but who always have on their sparkly crowns, which still makes them a princess. Little girls who want to be princesses can be brave, athletic, get dirty, use tools, and even spill on their clothes. And lastly, we have a fun science fiction book called Commander Toad in Space, which I would recommend for maybe second graders. It's a short kind of chapter book that Commander Toad and his starwarts land on a planet in space where no other spaceship has gone before. The planet's made of water, and Commander Toad and his crew encounters a scary monster that looks like a dragon, and that he claims he owns the planet. Which, there's the dragon. So the dragon-looking monster tries to eat them, but Commander Toad shows bravery, standing up to him, and after making their landing on the lily pad on the planet of water, they soar off to search for new planets. So there was just some of the many of books that she's written, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation and learning a little bit more about her. Thank you.